Okay, good morning. I'm going to turn things over to Sergeant Joel Dalton. We'll kick things off this morning.
Morning. I'm Sergeant Dalton. We're here today with a couple different agencies. One of the prevalent issues we have in Sioux Falls area is speed and racing. So we wanted to speak today about the efforts multiple agencies have taken part in. We have Trooper Steve here with us from South Dakota Highway Patrol, Sergeant Coons from Lincoln County, and then Sioux Falls as well. So I'll start out with just basically saying the efforts this year were to reduce speed, racing, reckless driving, and any traffic related issues that might be happening in the city. We're seeing a prevalence increase of racing or exhibition driving, motorcycles, driving at extreme speeds, things of that nature. So all of our agencies in this area partnered together, and we ran several different joint multiple agency operations. There was 5 of them from March to August. And so I want to start off with saying thanks to all the agencies that participated. Again, it was Lincoln County, Minnehaha County, Minnehaha County Reserves, and South Dakota Highway Patrol. Without their support, this really wouldn't have been a success that it was, and we just want to thank them. Also, primarily, I want to thank the boots on the ground, the guys that are actually in the patrol cars, put in the hard work. Without their passion, their motivation, hard work ethic, this would not have been possible, and it wouldn't have been as successful as it was. So the first list of statistics I have for you were from the combined efforts of those 5 operations that had all the multiple agencies. And so from March through August, we had 5 operations totaling over 577 citations, 184 warnings, which totaled to 775 total citations written. Some of the highlights were over 54 arrests, 15 arrests or citations for aggravated exhibition eluding, 6 DWIs, 6 drug arrests, and 11 DWIs out of that as well. These totaled up a significant increase in what we had done in the past for individual agencies when we combined our efforts. And so from that time, we had a great success using all 5 agencies from Lincoln County all the way south 57th to Minnehaha north of that, and South Dakota Highway Patrol helping out all over town. The Minnehaha Reserves also helped us and jumped in cars with every one of the agencies and doubled up the patrol efforts as well. Also, I wanted to share on just the Sioux Falls Police Department. We've been running federal OHS grant hours. So during January 1 to August 25th, we've had over 3,748 man hours spent under the Office of Highway Safety Saturation for highway saturation with officers enforcing speeding, racing, and reckless driving so far in 2024. That will continue, but to date right now, it's currently 3,748 man hours spent doing that. During that, we've also, as another stat would be 621 individual saturation patrol by officers. That means 1 officer working that to include. So over 152 different dates this year, we've had those going on. That's at a total of 54 DWIs, 3,653 speeding citations, 362 seatbelt tickets, 35 reckless exhibition and racing charges with over 61 warrant arrests and 50 narcotics violations. So we've had a good year, a very successful year, and the overall department-wide citations so far have also increased. We're at 523 DWI arrests as a department whole this year, over 5,532 speeding citations, 555 seatbelt violations, and numerous other charges. Another one of highlight as well that's on the same topic is over 200 reckless racing and exhibition charges for our department as a whole. One of the things that we've realized is that the community fully supports these efforts. We constantly get calls about the speed and racing problems in our city, in the counties that we serve. And one of the ways we wanted to partner with the community is to use Crime Stoppers. If a citizen comes to a stoplight and they see somebody doing a wheelie on a motorcycle, they're able to take a picture on their phone. They can go to the Crime Stoppers app, which is P3 Tips, and immediately send that from their cell phone to our database, and then we can potentially pursue criminal enforcement on those violations that they observe on the motorcycle, on the car, any violations. Crime Stoppers is a phenomenal resource to partner with the Sioux Falls Police Department, Lincoln County, Minnehaha County, and South Dakota Highway Patrol. We can use that to gather intelligence and then further corroborate for prosecution with the state's attorney. So that would be something I would highly encourage you to do. As we are a joint team effort, I wanted to invite South Dakota Highway Patrol up as well, and Trooper Steve would like to speak a little bit as well.
All right. First of all, thanks, Sarge. Like he said, I'm Trooper C with the Highway Patrol. I've been with the South Dakota Highway Patrol for roughly 10 years, and in the law enforcement community of Sioux Falls here for about 10 years. Wanted to point out and just address that this is a large ask with a lot of different moving parts, and that want to extend the hand of appreciation to Sergeant Dalton for bringing everybody to the table and being able to solve all this as a community, as together. Highway Patrol is continually dedicated to addressing these violations, egregious speed, reckless driving. It's what we want to address, and we want to get everything solved and sorted out. With Sergeant Kuntz here as well, it is a multi-agency. It's a large area to cover with a lot of commuting folks and a lot of traffic. So it's an actual grand gesture and a great effort from all the guys this year. So along with that, with the Crime Stoppers and tips, we're continually pushing forward legislation to address these things, to try and thwart people from continuing these aggressive maneuvers, these dangerous maneuvers, and solve this reckless driving. So again, it's been a good year, and when you guys are sending in your tips and everything like that, it helps us do our job better to help resolve those situations and keep going forward. So we really look forward to the community's efforts in helping us out with that. So, yeah.
Morning, my name is Sergeant Kuntz with Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. I just want to start out and thank the Sioux Falls Police Department for coordinating these multi-agency operations. Speed, reckless driving, it all affects every community, and we're all basically one big team, like to work together. Our agency is happy to contribute deputies to this effort. We'll continue to do that in the future. So thank you.
Do you have any questions? Yep.
You mentioned obviously this, collaborating like this and really working with the community has really helped crack down on a lot of these activities. Is this something you see as something that more often moving forward, you're going to be working together as agencies to do something similar to like you've done this year so far?
Correct. There's a quote out there that says many hands light work. So when you see a problem and it affects all of our agencies, like Sergeant Kuhn said, we just call all our friends. And so this is something that we've definitely decided that has been successful, but it certainly makes a lot of more success when you partner together. So we'll definitely see that in the future going forward, yes.
So then you're kind of hoping this almost, a public show like this is also going to tell people, warn them that
yes,
if you do this, we have much better coverage with much better tools to keep an eye on people that are driving recklessly, that are speeding, racing, etc.
Absolutely. That's one thing that we wanted to stress today, and so it's nice to see the agencies here as well. But what we can't bring here is the 200,000 people that are in Sioux Falls currently right now. But when we partner with the entire community, especially with tips from the public, it certainly broadens our ability to enforce and prevent this behavior. Absolutely. The partnership, not only at our level with the law enforcement, legislation, but also at the community level is super important.
From the time that you started doing these saturations up until now, were there specific problem areas you guys noticed more that you were seeing citations being given out or things like that?
There are certainly areas in the city of Sioux Falls and the surrounding communities that lend themselves naturally by environmental design to going faster. We build roadways for commuter times to be down, and the environmental design of our roadways encourages faster driving. So there are definitely areas in town that have nice roadways that are having a prevalence of this issue. and it's something that we're very aware of, yes.
Do any like certain like roads come to mind? Are you able to like specify those at all, or?
Any road that is more than a 2-lane divided that's new would certainly be an area we've seen a problem in. But yes, there are certain areas that just lend themselves to better, higher speeds just by design.
Oh, I had a question for Trooper Seed.
Yes.
You had mentioned that, like, you were pushing legislation to address these things. Like, what kind of bill would you want to see come forward?
I can't get into specifics on it, but it would be basically harsher penalties for more egregious criminal activity or driving activity. Obviously, we know that with the complaints that are generated, the community's calling in, they're giving us these areas, these complaints, and it's not just one. And I'm sure the people out there right now, they know exactly what those areas are. But as a highway patrol, as law enforcement, we know that reckless behavior, egregious speed contributes to injuries, accidents, all the problems that we don't want to see and we want to resolve. So I can't get into specifics on it, but that's basically the gist of it. So anything else?
Thank you, guys.
Okay, I really don't have anything, nothing big on the log stood out at me. Pretty much everything's reports, no big arrests on that. Nothing new with the homicide investigation. Detectives have received a few tips. They're following up on those tips, making progress with that investigation, but at this point, no arrests have been made, no charges have been filed.
That's for the Dunham Park.
Yeah, that's for the Dunham Park homicide.
Is there any need for the public to be like, feel like they're in danger related to that?
No, everything we have so far at this point points to that group of people knowing each other. So everything seems to be, I keep saying that again, but it does not appear to be a random type event. We're not sure what led up to the shooting, what happened before that, but the group of people that were there all somehow know each other. So I don't think there's any real reason for the public to be concerned. Obviously, you have a shooting that happened in a park on a Sunday afternoon. But there wasn't any specific threat to, it was all the people that kind of know each other, if that makes sense.
So how do they all know each other? Was it like a family reunion or something?
We're still digging into that, but that's what we've learned so far is that everybody's, I'll preface that by saying the investigations can always change direction depending on new information. But at this point, the information we've learned points to everybody that was there somehow knowing each other, maybe not necessarily related, but acquaintances or, kind of just know each other. I guess that's the best way to say it.
And have you heard anything from the 26, 27, 40-year-old if they're okay, or if they've given any information to police?
We don't generally get updates from the hospital on conditions of patients. We'll know that once they're taken to the hospital. After that, they really don't provide a whole lot of details unless somebody passes from their injuries. So I don't have any updates on conditions. Talking to the victims in the hospital would be a priority, but obviously they need to get better first. And so a couple of them had some pretty extensive serious injuries. I don't know if detectives have been able to talk to the gentleman with the shoulder wound, but that's one of the things that they will do.
Okay. And then do we know if the person who passed away was like a target?
That's part of the investigation. We don't have specifics on exactly what happened yet.
And is the park open yet?
I think it opened last night.
Okay.
Is it? Yeah. Anything else?
Are there any other updates on the baby at the?
No, the infant that was found at the recycling center was still investigating that, so nothing new with that.
Back to the Dunham Park, sorry. Do we know if that was premeditated or gang related or anything like that?
Those are questions we don't have answers to yet. Yeah, I know there was some questions about that yesterday, and we just don't have enough information at this point to say what exactly took place or why it took place.
Okay. And any other suspects that have come up?
nothing that we can share. It's just obviously part of the investigation. So I know you guys have a lot of questions and want information, but at this point, we just don't have anything. We're still trying to piece things together. That really involves tracking down everybody that was there and trying to round up and get pieces of information. Tips are a great way because we know people are going to talk, people are going to share information, and so if anybody has anything, we want them to utilize Crime Stoppers. That's anonymous. Those tips go right to the detectives to follow up on. We've got a few of those tips that have come in, and that's something the detectives are looking at, but we don't have answers exactly about what happened, why it happened. We're still trying to piece all that together.
Yeah. And do you know how many people were there at the time?
We don't, not a specific number. Anything else? Okay, thanks.